What's up, guys? I'm very excited today to bring you a very game-changing mechanic and relatively new as well, at least to me. Before we start, I'd like to just shout out the people who introduced me to this mechanic in the first place. I know Atmark, I think, discovered it, and then Coco Petty made a Japanese video on it, which I'll link in the comments below. Unfortunately, I cannot speak Japanese, and I know a lot of you can't as well, so that's why I'm making this English video to hopefully explain to you better how to deny your opponent their free fast moves. And then thank you to ZGFN for alerting me of this problem, and then Wanku of kind of helping me through some of my issues so that I could properly use this mechanic. But before we get into how to use this, or the theory behind it, I'm just going to show an example of a GBL game that I played with this mechanic in mind, and we're going to count how many fast moves go through on either side. So both sides had multiple, so I get a free fast move there. Both sides had all Pokemon with multiples of 2, so it was easy to count. You can see I performed the technique there. They don't get a free fast move through, so the count is 1-0. I got a free fast move through, and I get another one. So 2 free fast moves through for me, 0 for them. They're going to swap into Ampharos, and they don't get a fast move through here either. But they will get half of one through here, but that's mainly because of timing, not because I didn't execute the move. So let's just say the count is 2 to 0.5. I'm going to bring in Gengar here. You're going to see I get another free Shadow Claw through. So 3 free fast moves. And then I'm just going to go and use the technique again and throw my Shadow Punch. They don't get a fast move through. 3 to 0.5 right there. I'm going to get another one. So 4 fast moves through. 0.5 on their end. And I'm going to throw another Shadow Punch. No Powder Snow animation. Once again, they're denied. They didn't get a single fast move through the technique on this go around. So as you can see, extremely game changing. 4 entire free fast moves versus the expected 2 from the 2v4 scenario. Is just absolutely huge. It didn't really matter in this game because my team was a hard counter, but you can see how this mechanic can quickly add up, especially in mirror matches. All right, so before we get into it, we've got to cover some of the GBL basics that are needed to understand this mechanic well. So time in PvP is split into segments called turns, and each turn is 0.5 seconds. Each charge move and switch takes 1 turn to activate, and then when a charge move is activated by a player, his opponent will be able to finish their current fast move. So the expected interaction is that every time a player uses a charge move, when another player is starting their fast move, that player should get an entire free fast move in. But what is actually happening is that only happens sometimes. Sometimes you get the free fast move in and sometimes you don't. That's currently bugged and probably one of the bigger bugs with regards to consistency that Niantic does need to prioritize and fix, in my opinion. So Pokemon Go operates in a queue-based system. This is also important. This means that fast moves, charge moves, and switches, they can all be put in a queue, and this is essentially like a line. They're standing in line to see in which order they'll activate. And then once in the queue, moves act in the order they were put into the queue in the first place. So an example of this, a CMP Tie or a charge move, and you're trying to switch out afterwards. You click the switch button, but it doesn't switch you right away. It switches you after the charge move is completed, and then it'll swap you out at the earliest convenience. So that's kind of how queuing works. So let's go through the what and whens of fast move denial. So what is fast move denial? It's a technique to prevent this expected free fast move that would be used against you when you use a charge move, when your attacks are in sync with your opponent. Before we go any farther, I want to explain in sync. So in sync is when your next move, your next fast move would start at the same time as your opponent's fast move. These are the times where you would be giving your opponent a free fast move, ideally or theoretically, but in this case, you're trying to prevent that. So when should you use fast move denial? In Pokemon Go, there are 3 possible scenarios, 2 of which fast move denial is possible. I've color-coded. Obviously, green is good. First scenario, your fast move length is the same as your opponent's, so it's like a mirror match, and you are in sync. So performing a fast move denial here is low risk and high reward. It is high reward because you can completely prevent a fast move, and it is low risk because the only risk you're taking is that you need to just throw an extra fast move before you're charging anyways. And if you're not going to be fainted by that next charge move, or if you have a shield, then it doesn't really matter. There's no risk, really. The second scenario is that your fast move length is different than that of your opponent's. Think for example, your fast move turn length is 2, theirs is 4. So you're a bit you're a bit different. It's not you're all throwing at the same time. So performing fast move denial play is higher risk and a lower reward play here, especially for example like the 2v3 scenario, because if you have a 2-turn fast move and they have a 3-turn fast move, your turns will sync up every 3 fast moves of yours. And we already have a method, if you watched part 1 of the Advanced Mechanics series, to count your fast moves to let them only get 1 extra turn of fast moves in. So we've already minimized the reward here because the only thing that you're doing by fast move denial here is saving 1 turn. And the risk is high because if you fail, they get that entire fast move through. That could be extra 4 turns, right? But there are edge cases, and Boober Monkey made a post on Reddit about how in the Escavalier versus Granville matchup, so 2-turn versus 3-turn, if you don't use fast move denial, you lose the 2 shield by 1 turn. So it's those matchups that have a margin of error of just 1 turn. Perhaps it is useful to use, but I would not recommend using this unless you have the same length fast moves as your opponent. And the third scenario is you have the same length fast move as your opponent, but you're not in sync, so there was a switch or something, and they're throwing a bubble and you're throwing a bubble, and it kind of just goes back and forth. You can't actually perform a fast move denial there because fast move denial requires you to be able to sync up. So I'm going to walk you guys through, this is finally the good stuff, how to perform a fast move denial. This is much more complicated technically than the previous mechanics. It's not just counting. You actually have to like perform things in real time, and it's like pretty quick. But I'll walk you through it. You can pause on this screen and kind of read through these notes. This is kind of all encompassing, but I really do want to focus on same turn versus same turn fast moves. So first step of a same turn versus same turn fast move, you want to throw fast moves until you gain enough energy for your desired charge move. You have to have enough energy before you can perform this. So once you have enough energy, remember this is assuming it's a mirror match in terms of turn length of charge moves, you throw another fast move. So 1 more fast move, and after that fast move is thrown, you have to hit the charge move button on the first turn of that fast move. So to do this, you first have to identify what the first turn of your fast move is. So there's a couple ways to do this. To determine when the first move of your fast move is, you can either use the charge move right after your fast move animation starts, or right after you receive energy. So when your fast move animation starts, or when you receive energy, which is on the 4th turn of your last charge move, you have a 0.5 second window to then press your charge move button. In the Japanese video, they also talk about another way, like for example, in a 4-turn fast move, you can see a sliver of your health go down when you take damage. You take damage on the 3rd turn of your previous fast move, and you can count from there. I'm not 100% sure about how that works, so I didn't want to spread any fake news, so I won't cover that personally. But when you hit the charge move button, this is also something I've anecdotally found out. You really should only hit the charge move button once. I used to be a charge move button spammer. I used to spam that charge move button just to make sure it registered, but really you're going to have more important things to do than spamming that charge move button. You want to hit it only once. And then this is the 4th and actually probably most important part of this, because I did the first 3, in my opinion, flawlessly and just kept failing over and over. And I know this seems like superstition or confirmation bias or something, but it's not. You absolutely need step 4 for this to work. You need to spam your fast move afterwards. You press the charge move once and then go back to spamming until the game automatically pulls you into your charge move. You won't have to do anything else after that. Just go back to spamming your fast move. That might be a bit confusing. I'm just going to pull up a leader battle here on my phone so you can kind of see how this works. I'm just going to be tapping my screen. I understand you can't see my screen. Just see where my fingers are tapping just in general. So it's Swampert versus Raikou. Our moves are going to sync up on even numbers. So I have enough energy now. And then when I throw that other fast move, I tap down there just for 1 tap. And then I go back up to tapping. And as you can see, this ended up being a CMP tie because he's running Wild Charge. So once again, I'll tap down there and then back up to tapping. and then I'll get this charge move through. And I'll show one more time because the first one kind of got bungled by the CMP tie. So I tap down and I tap back up, and it activates the charge move, and you can see no extra volt switch going through. Well, I guess Leader and Rocket Battles, they have that stutter anyways, but you can see what I'm saying. You want to be tapping up there for most of the time. You only go down to click the charge move in the first turn and then go back up. So now that I've kind of walked you through how to do this, I'll show you some video of some tests to kind of, like, you can't really prove that it works. That's the main issue with this, is there's no positive feedback because it's random if it works or not. If you don't use this technique, if it fails or if you succeed, it's hard to tell if you performed it right or you just got lucky and it succeeded. But I'll show you some tests, and I'll slow down in some relevant bits to kind of show how to use the technique. We're just gonna see this first. This is just playing normally. I'm not using the technique, and we can count how many bubbles go through. So first one, no bubble goes through. Second one, bubble goes through. Third one, we get another bubble going through. So that's 2 free bubbles for my opponent. Throwing fast moves, there's another one. 3 free bubbles for my opponent. No free bubble there, so still at 3. And it looks like they squeak another one. So 4 free bubbles for my opponent here. And they don't get one there. So 4 out of 7, I think. So about 50%. And then this is going to be with myself using fast turn or fast move denial. I slow down. You can see I'm clicking up there. And then you can see I click for a split second on the play rough and go back up in the middle of that turn after I fully charge. So I'm going to slow down the next one as well and then just let it run. So I'm going to slow down again. I have it fully charged. Next fast move. In that first turn, I press it and then go back up to tapping. And you can see no bubbles get through. I'm just going to speed this all the way up. You can count the number of bubbles going through, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler here. You're not going to have to raise a single finger. I've also found it's much easier with higher turn fast moves. I didn't mess up a single time with 3-turn fast moves. With 2-turn fast moves, it's a bit more finicky. I think there's a smaller margin for error, but that's also unconfirmed. So yeah, not a single bubble going through. And we're going to take a look at different length turn moves. This is the baseline. This is 2 versus 4. This is the only other one where I think it's really worth it in a lot of cases to do. So this is just me playing normally. You can see that confusion comes in. Extra confusion is huge. Like your opponent getting an extra 4-turn move is huge. So they get 1 through on the first one. They don't get 1 on the second one. So what will be important to note is when I actually am doing it, so they get a second one through, is that now that they've desynced, I know that I need to release my charge move in the middle of an even numbered turn move because 2 and 4 sync up every other move. So you'll see in the actual case, so they got 2 out of 4 through there, or 3 out of 4, so at least 50%. And my Absol lost the match. So in this case, you're going to see I slow it down. In the middle of my 6th move, I charge up an extra one there because that was 5th, so I go to 6. I go down and press back, and there's no confusion going through here. I don't know if I think I slowed down again. So in the middle of my 6th move, again, I press down, press up, and spam that fast move. And once again, we have no confusions. And then same thing here. You're going to see at the end, he's going to get a confusion through on the last one, but that's because I'm just showing a real gameplay scenario where I'm like, if I just get this charge move off, he's going to faint anyways. So yeah, I just get up to the charge and just press it right away. That's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be trying to be mechanic perfect there anyways, because if you feint him, then his fast move does not go through anyways. So I'm going to cover why I think fast move denial works. I don't know if anyone really has a perfect idea. Maybe someone in Niantic does, but I kind of highly doubt it. But this is my take on why it works. It does seem a lot like superstition. That's why I really did struggle to cover this why part. But my theory is that game tries to sync fast move turns with your opponent because there have been a lot of previous bugs where your fast moves get out of sync. For example, there was that bug for a very long time where sometimes after a charge move or at the beginning of the game, you would stutter for 2 turns. Or 1 turn, and you wouldn't be able to attack, and then your fast moves would be out of sync even in a mirror. So I think that Niantic maybe put in something that kind of tries to sync your fast moves a little bit to account for lag. And you can kind of see this with the small pauses in regular play. So during a CMP tie, or if you CMP tie, sometimes the game takes a while. It kind of decides like, oh, who gets this priority, right? It has to stop and think. And like even after you switch, if you're really paying attention, I've noticed that sometimes it pauses for a turn. Switching should take a turn, right? But sometimes that turn becomes a little bit of a pause and both people's Pokemon stop attacking and then they go again. So with this in mind, your charge move is put into queue very early in the turn, and then you flood your queue with fast moves. So what I think is happening is that the game is still trying to sync your data and your opponent's data and just make sure that there's no like lag making you miss a fast move and your opponent not. But the game also respects the order of the queue, and because your charge move was entered first, it still allows it to proceed first. But it's still trying to keep you in sync with your opponent, so it delays their fast move to align with your fast move still, because you've flooded that queue with fast move attempts. And this actually kind of leads into a minor switch application as well. So what I mentioned earlier, switching in Pokemon Go takes one turn, and switching can be put in the queue. So this is kind of similar to the technique. Actually, it's not just similar, it's the exact same thing, except you use the switch menu instead of your charge moves. Sorry. And this has been a lot harder for me to recreate, but I've managed to do it a couple of times. So I'll roll that video and kind of show the difference between the normal and failing and not failing. So we're going to bring up this video. It's Bastion versus Azumarill. I'm going to try and switch out without while keeping everything in sync. So I'm going to hit the Azumarill, and you can see our bubbles they're not in sync anymore. They're kind of going off. That's the one turn of switching. So I do the same thing here. I swap, and you can see their Azumarill pauses for a little bit, and now our bubbles are completely in sync. So really, this is pretty low impact because it's just a one-turn penalty, or you're saving one turn, but there's no real downside if you unless you're trying to like switch right away. Like if you're trying to catch a charge move anyways, you might as well be switching and then tapping that fast move button as fast as you can. And then we're going to get into an advanced application of this. So advanced mechanics here. Shout out to Kev Killer for actually figuring this one out, and this one's a lot harder to execute. I think he even messed it up a couple of times, but this is forcing a fast move through a CMP tie. So I wanted to cover this in this video because it's kind of along the same vein. You're trying to get a fast move advantage over your opponent. This was a technique used way in the past, but much more robustly. You can use it over multiple turns. But now I'll just outline how this works. So you have to know when the CMP tie is going to take place. Then you have to throw an extra fast move while the game is still registering that the opponents are throwing a charge move. And then you have to hit your charge move immediately. So putting your charge move in queue after theirs. So the result of this is that you get an extra fast move through on their charge move, and then your charge move you've put it in queue, so it kind of appends it, kind of sticks it to their charge move, and it's like a false CMP tie. So even if your Pokemon does have the higher attack stat, you're gonna go second in the charge move priority, but you're gonna get that free fast move through. It's much harder to pull off. The timing is much less than, I would say, 0.5 seconds. Depending on the lag, you really need to be fast on hitting that charge move. And the advantage of this, however, is that you can do it without overcharging by one fast move. Sometimes you need to get that fast move off first. You want to like force that CMP tie to get that fast move in. And I'll show a video of this as well. This is from Kev himself. Also shout out to Valuable Ostrich and Appleseeds for helping me with the other videos. Sorry, I forgot to mention them. But we're going to see here. Actually, yeah, so he's going to slow down and he's going to get this fast move through. So you can see he just waited for his fast move animation, and then while the game was registering that there was another charge move, he went back down and he clicked on Stone Edge. And he clicks again here, but he really didn't need to. This was a CMP tie. Sorry for the confusion. He's going to try again on the next one. He knows he has an energy advantage. So he goes up another one. This time it technically fails, but that's okay. He still gets his charge move through. He just doesn't get the fast move through. And because he did succeed on the first one, he is now one fast move ahead of his Azumarill and can beat the Azumarill to a Stone Edge. So Bastion beating Azumarill. Let's take a look at how PB Poke says that is supposed to go. So with a Hydro Pump only, no baiting Azumarill. Azumarill can just win by going straight Hydro Pump. But it's technically CMP ties the whole way through. You can see at the end, Bastion has enough energy for a Stone Edge. But because Kev was able to sneak through an extra fast move there, he's able to beat this Azumarill to the third charge move and win the game, or win the switch advantage back with a Stone Edge. But yes, this is a much tougher mechanic to pull off. So I would say, at least to start, I would just recommend using fast move denial in mirror matches and like same turn matches to kind of stop your opponent from getting those fast moves off instead. But that about covers it. If you're a bit confused, feel free to go back and watch some parts multiple times. You might have to. If not, just send me a message or leave a comment. I'll try and get back to you about, at least with my knowledge of how this mechanic works. If you like these kind of videos and you want to improve at Pokemon Go, just hit that subscribe button. I've got a couple more ideas for advanced mechanics videos coming out. And after that, maybe even some team building and advanced strategies videos as well. Lots of ideas. There's lots of ways to improve your game in Pokemon Go. So yeah, just hit that subscribe so you can see right when they come out. And as always, guys, thank you for watching.